Welcome to Game Set Matchup, the podcast where we talk everything partnerships, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Hello, everyone. So this week on Game Set Matchup, we spoke to Chris Rabbitt, who is the co-founder of Meeow, which is an on-demand 24-hour video networking site. We talked about his experiences of creating startup companies. Much like ourselves, some of the trials and the tribulations that come with that. We also discussed what sort of partnerships they're looking for. We also talked about one of their partnerships with the Leeds Digital Festival. And how they are using that to get a bit more exposure for Meeow with all the people that are attending. So really good episode. Just as a bit of a warning, a little bit of colourful language, but I think you will enjoy it. So just grab yourself a drink and put your feet up and enjoy this episode. Okay, welcome to Game Set Matchup. It's the podcast where we discuss all things partnerships. I'm your host, Carl Busby, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Destiny Menser. And also, please welcome our guest today, Chris Rabbitt. He's founder of the 24/7 on-demand networking app Meeow. Chris, hello and welcome.
Hi, Carl. Hi, Destiny. Thank you for having me today. It is a pleasure to be on the Finder podcast. I feel truly honoured with an invite to this. So looking forward to it.
Amazing stuff. So I'll just say, just before we get into our first sort of questions, for me, I'm just intrigued. How did you come up with the name Meeow? Because I think it's just a brilliant name.
It's an interesting one. That is, if you are in the process of naming a business these days, you can come up with the best name in the world. Mm-hmm. You find a name that you like. It could be, I don't know, whatever, Thunder Trousers or whatever you think. Yeah. And you go, right, okay, I want to call this business Thunder Trousers because it's exactly the right name for this business. Right. So then you go www.thundertrousers plus whatever suffix you fancy, and all of a sudden, no, you can't have that. Well, we can't call the business that. What do we call the business? Yeah. And actually, I was entirely uninvolved in the naming of Meeow. But the reason the business is called Meeow, A, because it's a word that is not dependent on language, slight affiliation with feline. But really where we got it from is it's a portmanteau, which is two words smashed together, which is meet now. Meow.
Brilliant.
And so, it's truly global. We don't need to worry about people being able to speak English to be able to understand what the word's all about. It's just about, communication, but it comes from meet now.
Yeah, brilliant. No, brilliant. That makes perfect sense. So, so just, obviously just tell listeners a little bit more about sort of who you are, your background, what's your current role, and what does Meeow, what does it do?
Right. Well, my name is Chris Rabbitt. Yes, that is my real name. My dad's called Peter Rabbitt, and yes, that is his real name as well. And we worked it out a couple of weeks ago that we're both born in the Chinese year of the rabbit.
Wow.
So am I.
Which is, as far as I'm concerned, is taking it a bit far. Really.
That's got a little one step too far, but still brilliant.
But it's entirely true. So that's me. My background, I'm a career sales professional, if you like. I started out, and please don't hate me, everybody. I started out in recruitment about, here we go, showing my age now, 25 years ago, I think. And worked in that industry for a little while. And I've been an entrepreneur, self-employed, call it what you want. Grown businesses, sold one, closed a couple. Still involved in one other than Meeow. And I've been working for myself for, over 10 years now. Everything from catering companies through to IT support businesses, through to my own portfolio sales director business that, was running right up until the formation of Meeow. I've, turned my hand to a few things over the years. So, it's a journey, if you like, that sort of think anything prepares you for running a startup. Because let's face it, if you were sane or reasonable or, in any way sensible, you wouldn't do this. It's much nicer to be able to work for a living and bank someone else's money at the end of the month and be comfortable that you are going to get paid. As opposed to risking everything you have on something that might not work. But hey, you only need to be right once in this game, and hopefully we're right this time. I believe we are. So.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. So just what is Meeow? So obviously, it's like a on demand sort of network. So, but just talk a little bit how it works.
Yeah, so Meeow was set up as a direct response to the pandemic, if you like. So Simon and I, my co-founder Simon, Glenn and I, have been, will be, and continue to be serial networkers. We have always gained all our work, whether it be me as a portfolio sales director, commercial guy helping companies out, or Simon as a graphic designer. We've always gained all our work through word of mouth. So networking was a massive part of our lives. And when the world went online and started stuffing people 50 at a time into Zoom rooms for those horrendous meetings where you just sat and listened to people and wanted to kill yourself, especially when you were like number 40 in the queue, and by the time you got your turn, 60% of the cameras were switched off, and the ones that hadn't switched the cameras off, you could see were doing ironing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is horrendous. And so, actually, it was Simon. I can't take any credit for the original idea, but Simon came up with the idea. Right, well, okay, this has to be better. We can do this better. And he believed that there should be no more than 4 in a room. And actually, we sort of agreed on that right from the word go. It's our 64 characters, if you like. Actually, 128 now, isn't it? But and actually, we've done the research subsequently to say that, or to prove that actually that light bulb moment is actually scientifically based in fact. So Meeow, that's why Meeow was set up. So we started that on Zoom, actually. Thanks, Zoom. Back in April 2020, under the name of Zoom a Day. And then I jumped on board with Simon, and obviously we couldn't continue to call it a Zoom a Day. But we were then on our way to growing quite a decent sized community. And that was the Meowniverse in its sort of embryonic state. And we launched the platform back in April last year. And we've been making it better ever since. And now we offer 2 services. The second one's just about to launch. So first service is what it's always been, which is turn up, meet people you don't know, talk about stuff that you didn't know you wanted to talk about. Genuine, pure, very, very exciting networking that works. And the second service is if you have something to sell or something you need help with, or just a bee in your bonnet that you want to talk to someone about, you can jump on now and create your own Meow. So you can jump on and say, hey, I want to talk about, cheese today. I always use cheese. Simon hates me using cheese, so I will continue to use cheese. So it's a very singular thing. It's a very, very self-contained subject. So I want to talk about cheese. And so we will then push that out to the market, publicize that meeting through AI, get in touch with people who we think might be interested in coming to talk to you about that subject, and we'll encourage them to book. So throughout our sort of history, that's been our job, if you like, is to bring the audience to you. So we sort of set ourselves up as a networking business, and we are 100%. But our job is the audience provision business, and that's the aim of the game, is to make sure that whenever you sit down in Meow, you've got someone to talk to.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I think, like you said, I think with the number, I think you did the 4. Obviously, saying there's some research there to go as well, but I think 4 does that sound just about right, so that it's everybody can have, it doesn't sort of get awkward, and then, like you said, people just dropping off, to sleep and getting no involvement. So yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, I'm really keen to ask you, Chris, this question here, and it is, how have you seen Meow's approach change to creating partnerships since you founded it, and what does a gold star partnership look like for you and Meow?
That's a really good question, because well done for writing that one, Carl.
I can't take the credit. That comes from.
He can't even take the credit for that one.
It's a really good question, because our approach to partnerships has changed massively over the course of the 2.5 years we've been running this business. So we set out to be, while we are a business to business company, because our audience is business owners and whatever else of whatever stripe, we operate as a sort of direct to consumer model. So our audience is individuals, and we have to market as though we're talking to a big market of individuals. And very early on, we realized that actually this was quite a difficult way to grow a business. And so we started to try and attract communities into Meow. It was one of the reasons I started talking to Finder. It's an interesting community of exactly the sort of people who benefit from being on Meow. So they might come to you to find people, they come to Meow to talk to them, as well as, locate them and whatever else. We're doing a very similar job, I think, but in a very, very different way. And so we changed that, focus very quickly to to rely on building relationships with communities, with organizations, with entities that could bring groups of people into the platform. And we've been, I'm a great believer in partnerships anyway. I think partnerships exist, or should exist, for the mutual benefit of both parties. I get very frustrated very quickly when someone asks me to talk about partnership and then tells me how much it's likely to cost. If there's nothing coming back the other way. Find that it's one-dimensional, and frankly, it's a bit shit. Partners should exist to boost, to push each other up. The whole analogy of a rising tide lifts all boats is exactly the spirit in which I believe partnerships should be entered into. So you work with each other and for each other for the betterment of your collective business, whatever that will mean. Sorry, just to finish off answering Destiny's question. So for me, a gold star partner is someone who adheres to, if you like, those rules of partnership, who's willing to give a little bit, who's willing to take a little bit, who's willing to work in a way that benefits all parties to have a good result for everybody.
Oh, that's brilliant. No, that makes a lot of sense. I was just going to say, I mean, obviously, at Finder, we're all about sort of, obviously creating partnerships. So we are, totally on board with that stuff as well. So just going to a little bit more detail, like you've talked about, what you're sort of looking for. How are you sort of going about looking to sort of create those? Obviously, we've got Finder as a platform, which we obviously using to try and create partnerships. Obviously, we've all got people on the platform looking to do similar things. So is it how else have you gone about sort of creating them?
For me, it's finding, it's as simple as finding like minds, really. And it's also as complicated as finding like minds. Our community really are people who, or our tribe, if you like, are people who own and run their own business and want to connect with people who look like them. Let's say we're increasingly active in our community, if you like. So the startup founder community, because I love that community because it's so open and so accepting and so driven by the need to collaborate that you have really exciting conversations with people all the time. And so we've taken a decision commercially to really focus on that side of, or that community of people. And we're in the process now of partnering with digital festivals and tech sort of conferences and events, both in the UK and all around the world, and trying to bring those communities into Meow to either host and hold some of the events in those festivals, or in the case of our first one, going live next week, kids, which is Leeds Digital Festival, and they've been wonderfully supportive of us. Leeds is our home, and we're very, very proud of the sort of digital community in Leeds. And the Leeds Digital Festival is now a major European tech festival. So, 250 odd events over 2 weeks. 20,000 attendees from all over the world, whether that be virtual or in person. So there's a big opportunity there for us to demonstrate that we can be that sort of partner provider for those events, as well as an opportunity for the attendees and the event organisers to reach a bigger, more diverse, more distributed audience than maybe the people who would turn up to their events anyway. So that's our sort of mission going forward, is to try and attract more and a greater variety of those sorts of events into Meow. We can bring those communities with them, and as the tide goes out on those events, hopefully we leave a few users who enjoy the process and enjoy the platform, leave them washed up on the beach, and they can continue to get the benefit of Meow. So lots of nautical references today. I need to stop.
No, good. No, it makes a lot of sense. So I said, good luck with that. I said, it's just it's a week's time. Is it the Leeds Festival?
Yeah, so we were due to start on the 19th. That's the original launch date of Leeds Digital Festival, and now we're moving that forward, or a day.
Of course,
for Her Majesty the late Queen. God bless her. So we kick off on the 20th now.
Well, I hope that goes well. We're interested to see what you post on LinkedIn after that. Fingers crossed.
all I'd say is Finder speaks to that community as well. So the invitation has always been there. If we go live with a new service, come and engage with that community. Nothing's stopping you. We can't say, because you're not. This is the whole point: is that you're not holding an event, or your event wasn't accepted, or for whatever reason didn't fit with the festival program. Not a problem. Come and hold that event on Meow. Come and hold a number of sessions where you can talk to people in a very, very sort of controlled and intimate way about the message you want to get out. You can't speak to 60 people at a time, obviously, yet anyway. But what you can do is engage with an audience in a very, very different.
Well, I think we're getting on to one of my favourite questions, actually. I do love asking this one. So, Chris, what advice would you give your younger self starting out, perhaps the do's and don'ts of partnership creation and development?
Oh, in terms of partnership creation, that's very specific. My general advice to my younger self is give fewer fucks. Stuff sorts itself out in the end. I cared very much about things when I was younger, so very much the detriment of myself in a lot of cases. But in terms of partnerships, I think you need to create partnerships based on the way that you view the world rather than what you think you can get from them. Commercial good stuff generally comes out of a successful partnership, and successful partnerships very rarely come out of purely looking at it from a commercial perspective. Yes, it's nice if we all make money. That's why we're all here. Profit makes the world go round. It's not a dirty word. But in terms of partnerships, looking at people who you're going to work closely with, I would absolutely give myself the advice that don't always focus on the pound notes, focus on, and it sounds cliched and hackneyed, but it's absolutely bloody true, is focus on your vision and values and your alignment, and make sure that the people you're getting into bed with line up with those. And if they don't do it.
Yeah.
There's got to be in fact, I would argue that there's never a good enough reason to do it if that doesn't happen. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more real about that, especially if you're in the early days of your business. But if you can, don't ever really commit to anything with someone or a business or an organization or an individual that doesn't line up with your mission, with your vision and values.
No, I think that's absolutely spot on. I would definitely agree with that. So just we're going to have a little slight change. So obviously having some created sort of partnerships. Have you? So what sort of top tips have you got when it comes to sort of creating sort of high performing teams? So more talking about, I said, I guess that there's sort of people that are running the pulling the strings and like sort of winning cultures.
I've always run my businesses and run teams when I've been in a situation of trying to manage teams. When the penny finally dropped, it has to be said, because I haven't always done this. So if you're listening to this and I used to manage you back in the day and I was an arse, I apologize, because we can't always get it right all the time. And actually, but for me, when the penny finally dropped, and there's a number of people I can and should thank for that. It was about recognizing that your job as a leader is not to do people's job or not to sit on their shoulder and look at them doing their job. It's to provide them with the environment and the resources they need to excel, and then get out of their way and let them either do well or not. And if they don't, try and help. And again, give the assistance that you need, assuming they want to carry on and do. Give them the assistance and the help and the support and the training and whatever else to do well. But ultimately, the responsibility is theirs.
100%. Yeah.
For their own performance, I mean.
Yeah.
Your responsibility as a business owner, business leader, team manager, whatever, for the overall performance of your team. But no one's responsible for anyone's individual performance other than themselves. Your job as the manager is to give them the right environment to do that. And if they don't want to do that, they can't be helped, then it's time to part ways.
Yeah. No, good, definitely good advice there. I mean, 100%, giving people the tools and everything is one thing, but, as an individual, if they don't obviously recognize at some point, you've got to realize, you've got to want to do stuff for yourself. You shouldn't, they shouldn't need to be asked, you should just want to, be better and just do those things. I think, sometimes for some people, I mean, I know in my life that light bulb moment came on. I was like, I need to, got to sort your act out and just get on, do stuff for yourself.
The world of work is entirely different to what it was when I started working. It's a completely different place. And actually, one of the things that took a lot of my time when I was running my former business, which was called Carrot, by the way.
Oh wow!
You got to milk the rabbit as much as you can.
Okay. I was waiting for
milking the rabbit. Who said that?
That's the only rabbit reference we've had. I can't believe it.
No, that's fair enough. A lot of my time was spent trying to educate guys of a similar age, or even sometimes a little bit younger, but most of the time a bit older than me, about the fact that young people in the workplace now are not prepared to do the same sort of stuff that they were, 25 years ago. That come in early, stay late, don't take lunch, do that, and do all the rest of it without the expectation of being paid any extra money or all around. And there's a few people, and some people very close to home actually will go, I did it, and therefore, I expect other people to do it, and this, that, and they're not. And I always come back to them and go, who's the dickhead? Who's the dickhead? You turned up for work, you did twice your weekly hours for no extra money. Was your performance any better? Maybe a little bit. Did you hate the place you work? Probably. Whereas you've got people who turn up for work at 9 o'clock, they do a shift, they go home at 5, they hit the targets that you set them, they don't do a little bit more than you've asked them to do, but they consistently do it.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
One person who's expectations are out of whack now, and it's the guy holding the reins.
Yeah. We might have to bleep out those things on YouTube, but anyway, we'll see. I don't know how that works, but anyway,
It's not for kids, and it's fine. We're all grown ups here.
No, I'm fine with it. Okay, go on. Destiny's got one last question.
I actually did love the response to that question. I have to say, is you hit a load of points that I do actually speak about with my friends work-wise. But one last question, and then you can do whatever you want to do after this. What does the future?
Go and lie down in a dark room for a bit.
Me and you both. What does the future hold for businesses when it comes to creating partnerships with each other? Is there anything you or Meeow will be doing differently?
I think in terms of the future, but if I had a crystal ball, then, with the greatest respect to you two, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't be sat and look at it. But I think the world of work generally is becoming more collaborative as people realize that they don't need to behave like this anymore. And actually behaving like this is not a good idea. When the inexorable movement of society is into a more open and sharing culture, trying to close stuff. Coca-Cola are not going to publish their secret recipe. There are certain things you have to keep to yourself. But life is better lived collectively rather than on your own, and I think that's absolutely the same for business. I think you should actively seek out people who share the vision and the values that I was talking about before, share the attitude towards business, the attitude towards life, the attitude towards what difference you're going to make while you're here, and actively cling on to those people and work with them and talk to them and help all of us get better. I think that isolationist culture of business as it was is gone, or if it hasn't gone, then it bloody should be. That for me is where I think partnerships should be. The whole world of work is becoming more collaborative and has become infinitely more collaborative since I started working, and it's only going to keep going that way. So I suppose I go back to what I said before, is seek out those people who see things the same way as you and hold on to them, because they're invaluable.
No, that's absolutely spot on. Obviously, this is fun what we're all about. Obviously, trying to help create partnerships, and I think, like I said, it's only sort of good things can come from really sort of good partnerships all around. So, look, been absolutely amazing talking to you. I've really enjoyed it. I said, we've only managed to do one Rabbit reference, which I thought we were going to get at least 3 or 4 coming through it, but only got the one, so it's not too bad. But but on a serious note, really appreciate you getting up the time to come and speak to us at Finder. And as always, we're just going to look to keep helping you and helping each other to work towards our goal.
Perfect. Well, good luck with your journey, guys, and looking forward to working with you going forward.
Me too. But before we go, I do want everyone to have a look at your Meeow merch that you have on right now.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
Here we go, gang. Hold on a sec. We have pens too.
Oh wow. Okay. No, we are. we're missing something here at Find. Okay, we're gonna
come on, Greg. Get the merch budget dialed up a bit.
Yeah. We're going to be having a chat with him later in my next catch up. 100%. All right, brilliant. All right, thanks a lot, Chris.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for joining this week's Game Set Matchup. Tune in to hear more about the need to knows and the do's and don'ts when it comes to creating successful business partnerships.